Hello everyone, my name is Obilaz, and welcome to part 2 of Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. So, when last we played, we were infiltrating the Maharaja's treasure vaults to retrieve some sort of treasure to bring honor to our father and ourselves. The prince doesn't like fighting. Well, he never said he doesn't like fighting, but he said he would prefer to gain honor in a way other than killing, which I suppose is supposed to make us feel better about him, I guess. Make us feel more like, oh, okay, he's a good guy, he doesn't like killing people, I like him more. It's supposed to endear us to him. Anyway, so we had just gotten inside of a building, and that's when last we played, so that was when the save point was. Let's load the save game. So we're at the last one, the Maharaja's treasure vaults. Let's go. Alright, so this is where we last were. So yeah, give me a little helpful hint. I already know how to do that. So let's run along this wall. I'm going to take a right here. You don't have to worry about falling, because if you fall, so there's a little way to get back up. And there's water down there anyway, so if you're missing any health, like we are, I'm actually going to go down there and get some water. See? And then you can't run up walls when you're in water. Little touch the developers put in there. Boots get wet, can't run on walls. So then run back across here. And then we have to run across this wall and jump. Slow-mo. Bullet time. And run along this wall. And then you can do this. If you tap X, you have to time the button presses on the X button, the jump button, to jump back and forth, go up the walls.
And there it lay, just out of reach. The Dagger of Time. There was a treasure I could carry with pride as a trophy of our victory. If I could only get there.
Alright, so now we're gonna go try and get that dagger. So, go along here and then run along this wall, press X to jump again. So you can't quite reach it, but you can see it. So we're gonna go up this way. Climb up. Roll along this wall. And fall down here. And roll along this wall too. I wonder if this guy had to go through any special training to be able to do all this crap. Or if he just has natural talent at defying the laws of gravity and running horizontally along walls. Or up walls too, it doesn't matter. Okay, so spiky poles, you gotta avoid those. Those are bad. Those will hurt you. Those are not good for your health. They get more intense later and they get really confusing. So you might look at this wall and think, well, where do I go now? There's nothing there. You run along this wall. There's a little ledge right here. Point away from the ledge, press X, and jump back and forth. And then you are greeted by 2 more spiky poles. How fun. Alright, so let's go in here. Run along this wall, and jump across. And this one, you will emerge into a gigantic chamber. And we have to scale this wall. So. Alright, there you go. So, gotta watch out. Some parts of the little path, ledge, will fall off. Oh, I thought I was gonna die. Not really, but I bet for first-time players, that's what they wanted to do, was like, make you think you were gonna die. Those sneaky developers. Stupid Ubisoft. The funny thing is, they didn't do a very good job of making it seem like the parts of the ledge that fall off are random. It's always the part that will make you go like the longest way, or take up just the right amount of time for you to barely make it through that door at the end of the hallway or whatever. So let's jump from here, and there's a pole. Don't get this little scene. See, and there's the dagger. So now we just have to go this way. Now, the game wants me to, it says jump quickly from column to column, push left stick towards wherever you want to go, and press X. That has a notorious reputation, at least with me, for failing. He always jumps in the wrong direction whenever I try and do it that way. Spoiler alert. And since we don't have the ability to rewind time yet, I'm going to do it manually. Slide down, and turn that way, and jump, and break that box. An oddly soundless explosion. Don't need no water, don't need no man. I'm up here. As I fail to break some boxes. These pesky boxes are really good at running away. You don't understand. So let's go this way, and then run this wall. Jump to the guy's hand. Run it this way. How lucky that this statue just so happened to break in the exact ways we need in order to climb to the top of it. Alright, now you're going to do one of those jumping back and forth between the wall segments, only it's going to be longer this time. So. Alright. And now, the Dagger of Time.
Sand.
Funny how he was able to
I had what I came for. It was time to get out. Now.
slide the dagger. Alright, so you'll notice there's new additions to the HUD on the left. The little white ring that just filled up is kind of like your little timer, so to speak. As you use time powers, any of them that go for a certain, that act for a certain amount of time, that little circle will deplete, and then once it's empty, you have to wait for it to refill before you can use any more time powers. And the yellow things are sand tanks, which are basically how many times you can use powers. Once those are all empty, you can't use any more powers. You will figure out how to refill them later. Just jump across. Jump across here. More poles. This time they're starting to get a little bit more intense. This game has a fascination with poles. Press X to roll when you're running around. But yeah, this game has a fascination with poles. Spiky poles, smooth poles, stripper poles. And now, another high-res cutscene.
Oh.
Father, I have brought us honor and glory.
Your Majesty, you promised me my choice of the Maharaja's treasures. That dagger.
Surely you won't deny the lad a souvenir of his first battle. You may have your choice of all the Maharaja's other treasures. Except that hourglass. That will make a fine gift for the Sultan of Azad when we pass through his city. And some exotic animals for his menagerie. And a few dozen slave girls. Yes, that should be enough. I want no animals or maidens harmed until I have chosen. Let it be known, King Sharaman is merciful in victory.
Trust not a man who has betrayed his master, nor take him into your own service, lest he betray you too. I learned the truth of this to my sorrow, the day that we arrived in Azad as the Sultan's honored guests.
My friend.
My friend, your visit brings joy and honor to my poor and humble dwelling. If only you'd given me time to prepare a proper welcome.
The glories of Azad are famed throughout the world. And yet, the best is yet to come. I give you the Sands of Time. May the friendship between our kingdoms endure as long as time itself.
The sand, why does it glow?
I can tell you. Inside the hourglass is a marvel that no living man has seen. Alas, only the dagger can unlock the sands of time, and it belongs to a greater one than I. A young prince, dearer to his father than all the wealth of India. Perhaps he will oblige.
No! No! Stop!
Is it meant to do this? Alicia Sigataha!
Give me the dagger.
No.
You have unleashed the sands of time. I can undo what you have done. Give it to me.
The game. This is how all combat's going to be until the end of the game. So basically the way it works is you knock the guys over, and then you stick the dagger into them, and absorb them. And that refills your sand tanks over on the left. If you have full sand tanks, or actually, I don't think that matters. See? You absorb the guy. Yeah, see how there's that little tiny white dot forming next to it? Each time you absorb an enemy,
Each time I saw them down, they rose to fight again. I soon realized that only by taking into my own dagger the sands that possess them could I liberate them from their monstrous living death.
yeah, so that little white thing that's forming next to the first sand tank, I don't think it matters if you have full sand or not, but each time you absorb them, it'll grow a little bit, and once you absorb, I think it's 32 of them, you'll get a new one, and then you'll figure out what that is later. We'll explain it. Until then, basically what I do to shorten the fights is I do a vault absorb. While you do that, you vault over them, press square and triangle like this. You can also do a counter retrieval. Let's see if I can do it on this guy. There you go. And there's another wave. You'll know when the fight's over because it'll do that little thing we saw in the first part where it flashes white and cuts to showing the prince putting away his weapons all slowly, sometimes fast. I don't know what determines that. It's always random, but it'll let you know. It'll be obvious. If he stands there and nothing happens, then another wave is coming, so stay on your guard. Good way, if you're kind of still getting used to it, can't quite do what I'm doing, you can press square twice instead of square triangle, and it'll instantly knock him over. Usually what you're supposed to do is to do like a full combo on them like this. Hopefully, they won't block it. But you're supposed to do that until that happens, and then you're supposed to absorb them off the ground. But I find that takes a long time, and when you have to fight as many enemies as this game makes you in one fight, it just takes too long. So, I do it that way. Okay, so basically that's a save point. The way the save points work from now on, and for the rest of the game, is during a fight, somewhere nearby, this little orange pillar, I guess it's made of sand, slowly forms each time you take out an enemy, and once all the enemies are gone, the pillar is fully formed. You go into this pillar of light, sand, or whatever it is, and you get a vision of what's to come in between now and the next save point. And then once that's done, you can save the game. And another thing about the enemies is the tricks I was just doing were like I vault over them and retrieve them, or I do the counter retrieval. More enemy types, of course, show up throughout the game, and some of them, only certain abilities and certain like tactics will work against them. Like some of them you can't vault over. So I'll tell you more about those as we come across them. Save the game. And that's it for this part. So in the next part,
Done. I'll start the story from here next time.
we move deeper into the palace, chasing after the woman in red.